My lord, Maul.
The Empire will lock this planet down.
Times have changed.
The Empire may be our common enemy, but Maul will never be our ally.
Let us have our revenge.
Jedi, where is Maul?
I'm right here.
Hang on!
I master the Force, and the Force serves me.
Welcome, Masters and Padawans, to episode 628 Full of Sith. It's me, Bryan, host of the show, with you as ever, with the redoubtable Holly Frey. Holly, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm swell.
Stupendous, even?
Stupendous, stellar, interstellar.
Spectacular.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm really excited to talk about new Star Wars. I feel like we're in the midst of like this really great period of Star Wars right now, because we've got like Maul.
Yeah.
And we've got Maul, and we've got Mando and Grogu is just over a month away.
Coming.
And I feel like we've been a little light on books and comics, but that's okay. It's given us time to catch up on that and other stuff.
Well, one of us never catches up on books and comics, but we try. We always try.
Yeah, no, that's true. But so it's been a little while since we've talked.
Yeah.
And since then, we've had some episodes of Maul released.
Mm-hmm.
So Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord. So as we're recording this, 2 episodes have dropped. But as you're listening to this, 4 episodes have dropped.
Right.
And as we're recording this, I've watched 8 episodes of this. And
Humble
Holly's...
brag.
Well, I'm just trying to like set expectations for what
Yes.
what we're talking about. So like, but you, Holly, you've only seen 2 episodes.
Right.
So we're going to try to limit our conversation to the first 2 episodes, which
Well,
have
you
come
can
out.
talk about 3 and 4, but I just won't have. It will be news to me, which
Yeah.
is fine. I don't mind being spoiled.
Well,
Um,
like I said, I'm not trying to humble brag. I'm just trying to
I know.
set
I'm just-
expectations of what we're talking about.
Here's the thing, for the pull behind the curtain to what a jerk I am. I literally told Bryan to do this explainer at the top, and then I used it to bark at him about humble brag.
Yeah, no, it's, I'm used to it. I'm
I'm a very bad person.
I didn't say that,
She's a
but
monster. She's a monster.
yeah, no, that's fine.
Rawr.
But so the first 2 episodes of Darth Maul, or not Darth Maul, he's not Maul. He was Darth, now just Maul.
Yeah.
Really kind of take us into the first steps toward outside of the Empire, right? Like I think this is a little earlier in the timeline than maybe I was expecting.
Yeah. It's very, very interesting. I feel like I haven't really talked about this anywhere yet, so I have to talk a little bit just about the aesthetics of this show
Mhm.
before we dive in.
Please.
Here is what I am in love with about this show visually. It kind of makes Maul's facial markings look a little like watercolor. And it just takes on this really beautiful, multi-layered, very texturally interesting look. And the look of the whole thing is really beautiful. Like all of the beautiful city shots are like, that's catnip to me. So, but I really, every time I keep seeing, when I see a promo, and I'm really, really pleased that, like, I don't know if it's just that it's targeted to me, but sometimes I'm also seeing it on television. a lot of promotion for this show, like on Disney Plus, but even on Disney Channel, which I watch a lot of because the cats like it. Um, we'll have it on and muted to keep them visually interested throughout the day. And I see a lot of promos for this, so I'm very glad that there's a lot of marketing push behind it. But my point is that every time one of them comes up and I just find myself looking at the screen, I'm like, why is this so pretty? I mean,
There's so much about how pretty it is, just generally. Like it looks like a painting.
yeah,
And so last week I did some of the interviews with cast and crew, and one of the things I was really excited about was hearing from Athena Portillo talk about how they were actually doing some of the matte paintings in this show are actually like oil on canvas matte
yeah,
paintings, and how like for some of the models, like Joel Aaron would literally go put paint on glass and photograph it and bring that into the computer and then lay those photographs of the paint on the glass on the 3D models,
yeah, yeah. It's
um,
amazing.
because it looked so great. Like every painting of Janix, day or night, looks incredible, and it I think going back and thinking back to the early days of Clone Wars, there was this attempt, like it's almost like kind of going back to some of those early days in some ways.
Yeah,
If
I can see that.
where from the very beginning, George Lucas kind of talked about how Thunderbirds was George Lucas and Filoni talked about how Thunderbirds was one of the primary influences of kind of the look and feel of what they were going for, but like sleek and anime.
Right.
And the idea was like they wanted it to look like paint on marionettes.
Which is funny because marionettes freak me out, but I love this style. Like
Well,
I love the Clone Wars style and I love this style.
well, and I think it's the paint on the puppets
I think you're right.
that they were going for, not the like we're gonna make this look weird and like Team America, right?
Yeah.
Um, I think that's the part of Thunderbirds that they were really going for, was that they wanted it to look like it was something in a physical space, but that a painter like had a hand in, that was very artistic and painterly.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see that in the early seasons, and then it gets more sleek. And then now we're actually seeing that very, very artistic, painterly quality come back in a way that like really, really stands out, since like in a way that it hasn't in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just
Super pretty.
gorgeous. It really is.
Super pretty.
So,
Um,
oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I have little notes, but I'm sure you have plenty as well. So hit it.
Well, one thing I just wanted to say, so the first episode is called The Dark Revenge, and it just kind of kicks off, with a bank heist, and kind of shows you that this show's going to be a little different. Where we kind of get a little bit of police procedural, right? Like I think
Yeah.
um people seemed to, and I certainly did enjoy the episodes of Clone Wars where we got tastes of this, right? Where it was like the Senate murders episodes where we got that inspector sort of
Yeah, yeah.
snooping around, or the episode with, sort of the CSI droid that was snooping around the Senate bombs, or the Coruscant, the Jedi Temple bombing, things like that, where we got kind of tastes of this. But Brander Lawson and sort of the police apparatus on Janix is really interesting, and they start digging into this bank heist pretty quickly, that we learn immediately is sort of perpetuated by Maul, or perpetrated by Maul
Yeah.
and his gang. That's like the leftovers and dregs of the people who didn't abandon him,
Yeah.
post Siege of Mandalore, the people that he was able to get to after the events of um, the Clone Wars finale.
Yeah. As a sidebar, because you mentioned we find out pretty quickly, I am really delighted. Like, I think the way they timed that was really, really good. The way they timed the reveal of Maul, because it is one of those things where like it jumps in with a bank heist, as you said, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Um, but there's a lot of action going on, and we're trying to contextualize it as viewers, and they kind of gave us just enough to get really interested in the heist and trying to figure that out when they reveal that it's really all Maul. And the way they did it is so artful, and I just wanted to note that, like, in terms of editing, script writing, timing, chef's kiss.
Yeah, no, it's really gorgeous stuff. Um, it really just looks cool, and the chase was really good, and it has this the Kiners do really great work, even just right out of the gate. Like you can tell from this opening sequence
Hmm.
that Kevin Kiner, Sean and Deanna Kiner, like they're doing some of their best work, and it has this Attack of the Clones vibe, where you have the sort of electric guitar vibe that John Williams brought to the Zam Wessel chase, but it has its own unique flavor to it that's really great. That the Kiners really know how to bring to Star Wars now because they've done more than anybody.
Yeah, they're
Um,
incredibly fluent in that language.
and just the music on this show is so good.
It is very good. And I am glad you mentioned the Zam Wessel chase music, because that was the first thing that I thought about in that whole big action sequence that kind of opens the whole series. I was like, ooh, this feels a little Zam Wesley.
Yeah. Um, but it it kind of shows you like I was really I will be honest, like I was really kind of hesitant about this show or skeptical because there is this feeling that like Star Wars is very much about hopefulness and
Mhm.
light at the end of the tunnel. And one of the things that made me sort of check out of the Star Wars expanded universe before the canon reset in 2014 was, at the end of those days, they had found sort of, like this Sith homeworld where there's hundreds of Sith roaming around and they're all sort of jockeying for power. And Ben Skywalker is falling in love with one and she's going to betray him. And there's all this betrayal and everybody's out to get each other and they're all jockeying for power and everybody's evil. And
Yeah.
like right on the heels of Jason Solo turning evil, which was really cool, but that was like one of them. And oh, there's a whole planet of them now. And it was like focusing too much on the evil characters is just not my jam.
Yeah. I mean, I checked out of EU, I think even before you, because I was like, not for me. Um, but I know people that, as I always say when I see something's not for me, that love all of those stories, and great. That is
And
awesome.
but this really showed us pretty quickly that that's not the hole this was going to fall into.
Yeah. Um, it's got a lot of interesting nuance, and you can see, as like a police procedural we would be more familiar with, there are seemingly disparate threads that start to come together pretty quickly, right? Um, Here's an interesting thing that only occurred to me after I had watched it several times, because sometimes Holly's slow. Um, I You're gonna probably be like, "Yo, ding dong, this is the most obvious thing. We all figured this out a long time ago, or we all had this thought." I just was struck on a recent viewing, because I've rewatched it a few times and I've had it on the background while I'm working and whatnot. How many pivotal Star Wars moments throughout storytelling hinge on theft. Um, and in this series in particular, the two threads that come together kind of at the end of episode one, but then more so in episode two, and I'm presuming beyond, start with two very different kinds of theft. And I just thought that was interesting because a galaxy that is so um vast for theft to be such a heavy determiner suggests that everything is deeply unbalanced in terms of who has things and who doesn't, and also that there is an imbalance of power because a lot of those thefts are related to trying to get power. Just my little insight of the day.
Yo, ding dong. No, I'm kidding. Um,
Ding
um,
dong, yo.
yeah. No, no. Actually, it's something that I think bears verbalizing because I hadn't necessarily thought about it in those terms. But as you're saying that and going back to sort of the classic cinema thing that Star Wars does, it really reminds me of the sort of Italian New Wave film, The Bicycle Thieves,
Yeah.
right? Where the bicycle thieves really at its core is just about that balance or that imbalance of like who has what really like who has who the things people have dictates who succeeds,
Yep.
right? And in Bicycle Thieves, it's just as simple as I have a bicycle so I can get to work, and someone has stolen it, and I'm going to frantically run around and try to find it until I'm so out of my mind I'm going to steal another one
Hmm.
and put the person who I've stolen it from in the same position of desperation I was in.
Yeah.
Um, and this really kind of does feel like in some ways it can exemplify those things. Um,
Yeah, I mean, we see, this heist that we've mentioned already several times that's playing out because of a power game that's happening. And then we see the opposite, or a very different kind of theft of someone who is just hungry and trying to eat. And I just think it's interesting that those two very different, on paper you could say they're the same crime in some ways, but it draws those characters together from completely opposite directions. I just thought that was super interesting.
yeah, yeah. Well, and that kind of brings in a whole other aspect to it that I really loved was the philosophy between the Sith and the Jedi, right? And how this major theft is no big deal to Maul, and that he's willing to kill these people for it,
Yeah.
and that this small theft to get over hunger is something that Devin, who's the new character, the new Padawan,
Mhm.
struggles with, and her master, uh, Iko Diodaki, voiced by Dennis Haysbert,
So good.
um, is like, no, that is not how we do things. Um, and she's like, but we're starving, and it kind of brings in this sort of Les Miserables like tension here, where it's just like, I think one of the things in Les Mis that I'm like most on board with is like, yeah, steal the bread, like,
Yeah, 100%.
um, yeah, and Master Daki's just like, no, we're Jedi, we're better than that, like we're not going to do that, and so it puts Devin in this really interesting philosophical position where she's just like, Master Daki, like your Jedi ways worked to a point, but like we're not living in that world anymore. Like
Yeah.
that's not the world we're living in. And you can see very easily the same situation that led to Darth Vader happening on a much smaller scale with Devin with that theft, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like these Jedi Masters aren't seeing reality.
Yeah. I will say there was a line of dialogue. There are several things in this show that have made me giggle a little bit, probably because of my own associations. But when Master Diodaki says, "We'll rely on the kindness of strangers,"
Uh-huh.
my brain just thought of Blanche Dubois.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I was
I don't
like,
think he quite meant it the way she did.
no, not quite.
I would hope not.
I've always had to rely on the kindness of strangers.
I will not lie, my brain took me there too, but
Oh, I'm glad it's not just me.
I don't think that's intentional.
I don't think so either.
Um, and I think that's just a flaw in us.
Probably.
Well, maybe it's not a flaw. I mean, that could be a feature of us.
There's
Um,
another thing that is definitely a thing I associate with something else, and it is decidedly a flaw in me.
and what is that?
The droid two boots.
Oh yeah.
Because on Bob's Burgers,
Uh-huh.
there is an episode where a pregnant biker named Goldie gives Linda the nickname Two Boobs for no reason. And every time they talk to Two Boots, I just hear Two Boobs and it makes me laugh.
Yeah. Well, that
But
makes
then there's Nicodemus, and I'm like, is this a Rats of Nim reference or a
that's
biblical
exactly what I
reference?
thought that. I really went to like I really
There's no
did
way it's not. There's no way it's not.
it that's one of those like Nicodemus and like that is one of those lines in the Rats of Nim where Jonathan comes in and starts um accusing accusing them of killing Nicodemus that like rattles in my head all the time that I was like, yeah, no, he has to be. But
I
he's not in the show very long. So,
watched
and
that movie a lot in college.
yeah, no, I watched that movie a lot too.
A lot.
Not in college, but as
Well,
a
in
kid.
the house that I was living in, which was like, it used to be a frat house for a dental fraternity, but it was no longer, and it was like the theater kids house. Um, and there was a VCR, and we had two videotapes that belonged to somebody else. One was Rats of Nim, and the other was Harold and Maude. And I think I watched both of those movies every single night because I never slept.
I'm not surprised.
I mean, those aren't bad movies to watch over and over, I gotta say.
Um, yeah, no, not bad at all. But but Ludivario, Nicodemus's rival is great. He's voiced by the guy who's been doing Mickey for a while.
Yeah.
Um, and I just love that he's just an Alina in a robot suit.
Yeah.
Um, or at least for these episodes, he is. He kind of Maul doesn't let him keep the robot suit. Um, but oh man, he's just such a good character, and
He's really, really cute.
he's
Which,
Joe Pesci in Goodfellas.
yeah, 100%.
He's Joe Pesci in Goodfellas, but like with with see like so much of like you went with two boobs for
Uh-huh.
two boots, but I went with Nikki two times from Goodfellas.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
I'm gonna go get the papers, get the papers. Um, but no, like he's Joe Pesci in that movie with like with a made man standing over him all the time, going like, "I could kill you."
Yeah. 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 It's terrific.
And I love that. I love that. I love that dynamic, and I love how Maul treats him, and I just love how all of that goes.
I do too.
Um, and I love just everything about how this is set up. Like it is not how I expected it to be. A I didn't expect like the cop show. I didn't expect to be rooting for the cops. Like in this day and age, like
Right.
I've been watching a lot of like Daredevil lately. I don't know if you've watched this new season of Daredevil Born Again.
I haven't. I have not kept up with Daredevil at all. Brian loves it, and it's one of those not for lack of interest, but I just have not had the time set aside to work on it. I gotta
You
make
could
clothes, Brian.
I mean, you could do that while you're making clothes.
Sort of,
Um,
but you got to pay attention, and I got to pay
yeah,
attention to sewing.
yeah. So you put on the Star Wars in the background. I get it.
That's
I get it.
exactly what happens.
Um, but these last two seasons, like Born Again, is really all you need to do with season one and season two. But in season two, it's just like Wilson Fisk has created the anti-vigilante task force, and it's basically dudes dressed up in military cosplay, rounding up anybody who does anything remotely like vigilante like
Yeah.
and tosses them in cages. And watching Daredevil roam the streets, rescuing these people, busting into their facilities and beating the hell out of them is super cathartic. And so
Yeah.
I didn't think that like seeing Brander Lawson as a cop would like I didn't think I'd gel with that.
Yeah,
Like
he's
that
great
like
though.
yeah, no, he really is. Especially like this feels like especially with the first four episodes in context where they see that it's Maul, right? They're like, "Oh, this is Maul." And Two Boots is just like, "Oh, shall we get the Empire involved? Like that's what we're supposed to do." And it's just like, "What? Like what? No. Like we can't." It feels very much like a different view on what was going on with Prelux, Morlana, and Andor,
Yeah.
where they're just like, "No, keep this quiet. Don't make a big deal out of it because we don't want the Empire messing with any of our stuff."
Yeah.
And Lawson understands this intuitively, but he's dealing with a whole bunch of droids. Like the police department is droids that have no judgment whatsoever, which is really interesting, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a really interesting take on police where it's just like there's no gray area for any of these law enforcement officers. It is
Right, it's the
black or
RoboCop
white.
problem.
Yeah. But in Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like when Master Daki is trying to talk the cops out of letting the kid go, like it was just a mistake. We're fine. Like everything's okay. He can't even Jedi mind trick them out of it because they're robots, right? Like it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a kid with a mindless, just a thoughtless indiscretion. And Lawson tries to do the same thing, right? Where it's just like, "Ah, it's just a kid. Like,
Yeah.
really, you're gonna bother me with this?"
Yeah.
And if he had the time, because he wasn't dealing with like a bloody maniac Sith Lord roaming around on his planet, he probably would have done the same thing. But they can't make those judgment calls. Everything's like this black or white binary in a droid. They can't make those judgment calls.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same thing that Obi-Wan was saying in Attack of the Clones, right? If droids could think, there'd be none of us here.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I do also want to talk about the spy bot,
Oh yes.
and I will ask you a question,
Uh-huh.
which you may choose to answer or not. I can't imagine why you wouldn't. Do we get more information about the spy bot in episodes 3 and 4?
Define info like Spybot is Spybot. Like there's no
He just has a funny personality.
he's just there. Like
And I
we don't
don't know if you watch with the closed captioning on.
yes.
Did you notice the very funny Spybot closed captioning at one point
I
where it
noticed a
says he's scatting?
yes. Um
I just love the idea that Spybot is just like I love it. It makes me laugh so hard.
so we don't get any information about why he's there or how he joined Maul's gang. Nothing. Like he's just there. We get more of him, but we don't get any information about why he's there. Like he's just Maul's buddy now. That's it.
Great, great. I want one.
Yeah.
Bring me
Who doesn't?
Spybot. Bring me Spybot.
And it's
That's what they
David
need to
W.
drop for
Collins.
May 4th. Yeah.
It's David W. Collins, which makes it even better. So for those of you looking for that reunion, um, you know, he was proxy to Sam Witwer's Star Killer in the Force Unleashed games.
Yeah.
So now they're back to dark side user and droid, which is great.
Uh-huh. Love it, love it, love it. I just love the design of it. I just love Spybot.
I love how he just like hides places.
Yeah.
Like the way he blends in is really great. Like his name is quite appropriate.
It's so cute.
And his fight with Two Boots over the security cameras is so good, especially his just running commentary.
Precious. I love a droid.
Yes. Yes, I do.
I do have another question
Yeah.
that you can't answer definitively.
Hmm.
So it becomes a discussion. Why? Why do the Sith always want an apprentice? Like, what if one of them broke the cycle? Like, I don't understand why they keep going, well, I killed my master, and that's tradition, so I better go find the person that's gonna kill me. Like, one of them just went, I got the power and I'm keeping it. Suck it, nerds. And like didn't teach anybody anything.
I think with Maul, I think Maul understands that he's not powerful enough to take anybody by himself.
You think?
Well, he says that straight up to Ezra, like, and Kanan, where he's
That's
just like,
true.
I'm not powerful enough to take on Vader alone.
That's
And
true.
he can't get into any of the temples by himself, right? Which is why he needs Ezra.
This is a good point. But yeah, I guess so.
Like, literally everything he wants to do, he needs a second Force user for.
But
And
does it have to be the apprentice that like I guess this is it. There's an intimacy to that relationship where it does come with the promise of destruction. Now Maul does kind of break the cycle because he doesn't get killed by an apprentice. But
um,
by that point there's a different Sith involved and that's.
I think there's something in the psyche of the Sith that they all think that they're smarter than their master.
I think you're dead right on that.
That they all think, well, I'm smarter than my master was. It's not going to happen to me.
But that was my first reaction when, I mean, in the first episode, I don't remember the exact line, but like he talks about sensing that his potential apprentice is near. I'm like, why do you want to go down this road, champ? Like you have a little army of your adherents who will blow stuff up for you and like do your dirty work. Just keep being the boss of that. I don't. Oh, self-destruction. I don't get it. I don't get it.
But I mean, look at the thing is though is that like look at how Palpatine utilized them. Like he sent them out to do his bidding so he didn't have to do it personally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like a shield, right? Like it's a shield of uh protection so he doesn't have to put himself in harm's way. It's a shield of, you know, being able like plausible deniability so that he can say, well, that was, he went off and did that. That wasn't me.
Right.
Um like there's many wheels within wheels that can turn in the machinations of someone that is plotting lots of things to utilize a person like that who can wield the force at a level of mastery like that. And to be honest, like an apprentice who is powerful in the force is going to be able to do a lot more and accomplish a lot more than Rook Cast is going to be able to, or that, those random, Dathomiri brothers are going to be able to do. If, Inquisitors show up, which we've seen from the trailers, that's no surprise. Like, how are they going to stand up against them better than someone with a lightsaber?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I just think, surely, surely there's a workaround.
Well, I mean, part of it's just like you got to think he's been,
Hubris.
yeah, like hubris, but also just like there's a tradition there too, and like people typically want to be able to identify and share a common experience with somebody, right? Like no one around him can understand exactly what he does or what he goes through, and the closest thing he could get would be an apprentice.
Yeah, I
There's some really good
guess.
stuff in episode 3 where he invites Devin to tea.
Nice.
Yeah, and they have a little conversation over tea, and he
Are
kind
there
of
dolls?
no, it's a very Japanese style tea
I figured I'm
ceremony.
just being silly.
Um, no, we won't catch Maul playing with his dolls again, sir. Um, this was Spaceballs. I don't know. Um, but he kind of talks to her about how like they're very similar in many ways. Like I mean, he does this with everybody though. Maul really tries to mirror himself in everyone he's talking to and trying to get something out of. He really does try to identify with everyone that he's trying to manipulate,
Yeah.
which is a really common tactic of manipulators.
Yes.
But he does that with Ezra. He does that with Ahsoka. Um, he does that with everybody he's trying to get something out of.
I
But
mean,
but I
if
think he
only somebody loved him.
yeah, I think he's genuine though. Like I mean, he thinks he believes he's being genuine. I think that's
Yeah,
what's
I can see
interesting
that.
about this era of Maul. From his offer to Ahsoka to now, I think we're seeing like the most honest version of Maul we've had.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that has been my kind of one of my favorite things about Star Wars animation is that, when The Phantom Menace came out, there was so much hype leading up to it about this new villain, and we were all so excited. And then we didn't get that much of him, and he was, to the best of our knowledge at the time, dead and done. And so now, not only him being able to come back in animation, but all of the levels of depth that they have added to his story and his lore and his character, has really made him quite extraordinary. I mean, I always say I don't have a lot of love for the Sith, but I find Maul ceaselessly fascinating.
Yeah, no, and Maul, I think, is one of the most interesting characters in Star Wars right now. Like he's
Yeah.
got some of the best, most interesting depth. He's just one of the best characters.
Yeah, I mean, he offers up, this unique story that we had not really gotten anywhere before. We had not really considered of like what happens when there is a figure who seems like they are going to be very important, particularly to the dark side, and then they're kind of discarded. Like, what does that do psychologically? Like, we've gotten to explore all of that, which I just love.
Well, and I love this show and what it's doing with Maul in particular because like what Maul's exploring is like what does it mean for him to be in this world, this empire where he doesn't have a place?
Yeah.
Like he was trained to be ruling at Palpatine's side and he's not. And so what is his place? Where does he get to fit? And I think that is something that he doesn't have to um he doesn't have to fake it with Devin or with Master Daki at all. Like we were both cut out of this world, right? Like
Yeah.
we don't have a place here anymore, and the Empire wants us both equally dead.
Yeah, the structures that they were a part of have been completely obliterated.
And I really like the idea that like Maul is coming to have a begrudging respect for the order that the Jedi brought.
Yeah.
Like he didn't like that they would stop him from the things he wanted to do, but he had to admit begrudgingly that there was a stability in in the way the galaxy operated under them. And now, like the rules, there are no rules under the Empire. The rules are whatever Palpatine's whims are. And
Yeah.
seeing Maul try to navigate that's really interesting. Um,
Yeah.
and I mean that's something that's really interesting for Master Daki to watch him grapple with, and it's something that I don't think got explored enough on the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. But like, what does it mean to be a guardian of peace and justice in a world where there is no justice?
Yeah.
Um, and where enforcing justice and peace will get you killed, right? Like, it's not just risking your life, it's risking the life of the Padawan whose life you're responsible for, and it's risking the life of anyone who helps you. Like, what does that do to you as a person?
Right.
Um,
Especially when your entire life has been dedicated to it.
yeah,
Like when
like,
you really think about how, in many ways isolated their lives are in terms of their personal lives. Like, yes, they, go out in the galaxy and have adventures in many cases, but like they don't, they don't have any of those connections that the rest of us in the, modern real world would have when like, okay, let's say your job vanishes. Well, you still have a support system, hopefully of like friends, family, etc., that you can lean on while you rediscover where your place is. They don't have that.
yeah, no, not at all. They have people who will kill them and people that might help them but get killed for helping them if they are caught.
Hmm.
And so, what does that do to your psyche when your life has been dedicated to helping people and that's taken away from you so drastically?
Yeah. Yeah.
And Maul's Maul is in the opposite. Like he's been groomed to take power, and similarly, like him taking power will lead to the same thing, that destruction.
Yeah.
Because the more attention he draws to himself, the more likely that death and destruction will come to him, which makes so much more sense now when you think about his fall from, you know, controlling Mandalore to being, Oz behind the curtain of just Crimson Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that really is interesting because he gets to a point where he has some semblance of like self that comes from his position of power, and then it all crumbles again.
And that crumbling, well, that crumbling came from searching. And I mean, he ends up on Malachor. And what was he looking for on Malachor? It wasn't power, it was a way to destroy Sidious.
Right. Revenge.
Yeah.
Kittens.
I
I
don't know.
mean,
It's,
that's what I would be looking for, but that's just me.
yeah. No, it really is interesting. It really is how fascinating his character is and the movements he goes through. Um, Another interesting thing I thought was fun is the character of Rena Sewell and her gambling parlor.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this, but she was played by Pamela Adlon,
Hmm.
who's the voice of Bobby Hill on King of the Hill.
Yeah.
And actually, she's the mother of Gideon Adlon, who plays Devon.
Ah,
So that was just an interesting tie. But like the first time I heard her voice, I was like, I feel like that voice is familiar, and I couldn't place it.
yeah, I did the same thing.
And then as soon as I looked it up and found who she was, and I was like, oh. And then I watched the episode the second time, I was like, I picked out so much Bobby Hill in her voice. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I hear it now. Did you do the same thing?
Oh
Like,
yeah, 100%.
and now like I can't not hear Bobby Hill in her voice,
Yeah.
um, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with Bobby Hill's voice, but
Yeah.
I didn't realize also that she did her acting debut was in Grease too.
I didn't either. That's
She was
funny.
she was the little sister.
I don't remember it that well.
You know what? That's probably a better thing.
No, I mean lots of people love Grease too. I loved Grease when it came out because it came out when I was a kid and right at that right age where I wanted to sing all the songs and didn't understand the weird sexual undertones. Um,
It came out the
people,
same summer as Star Wars.
yeah. Oh, we used
Um,
to have sleepovers where we sang to the soundtrack all the time.
yeah, no, I mean, Grease was a staple in my household was a kid, and as soon as I got older, I was like, why were you letting me watch this as a kid? This doesn't make any
Right?
sense.
Right. Just very adult themes here.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, no, like I have no idea why society got more Puritan because when I was a kid, nobody cared about any of that crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe people realized. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
But yeah, no, Grease 2 was Pamela Adlon's debut, and then she ended up on The Facts of Life. Uh, and then eventually moved into voice acting and then got her kid into voice acting and now Gideon is Devon, who I loved what they did with the lighting with Devon on the show because it
Yeah.
does kind of give those hints toward that Darth Talon idea,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, like a really cool nod for fans. Like, I don't think we're actually going to go full Darth Talon. I don't even know if she's going to end up with, joining Maul. I do know that like just the way the inherent rules of drama work, she is going to have to make difficult choices and face dilemmas over her morality based on what Maul is presenting her and what her master is presenting her. Just these first two episodes make that apparent.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard to watch.
Yeah.
It's going to tear her heart out.
Well, Star Wars has done that before.
Yeah.
I mean, I still haven't forgiven Barra Sophie, so, you know.
I want more storytelling about Barriss in that post Tales world, like after she's left the Inquisitorius, like,
Yeah, where she's doing her meditation jam.
and trying to make up for all of the horrible things that she did.
Yeah. Yeah. Still on the struggle bus with her.
You know, personal redemption is much different than forgiveness on the part of everybody else.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that's something that Star Wars has always been very good at, but Star Wars fans less so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, right? Where it's just
I do. Sorry.
like Star Wars is very good about like characters coming to realize the cost of their mistakes and moving to correct them. And Star Wars fans going like, "Cool, they corrected that, but they don't deserve forgiveness." And it's like, "Hey, no one said they did." Like
Right.
that's up to those individuals that were around them to give them that forgiveness. Yeah, Luke came to terms with his father was. Ahsoka has seemingly come to terms with Anakin, maybe. Um, Leia never did, nor should she have to.
Right.
Um, Rey, I think, came to terms with Ben. I think that kiss said as much.
Ugh.
I know, I know. I said that specifically because I figured you'd make
Because you
some
wanted me
weird
to hiss
noise.
about it.
Um,
For everybody that loves it, I'm glad you love it. I just don't.
um, but regardless, kiss notwithstanding,
Oh my gosh, you just keep wanting to say it.
kiss.
You're a monster. I ever told you that word squinks me out just on its
No,
own?
no. Anyway, regardless
It
of that,
does.
though, Ray did come to an understanding that Palpatine had influenced Ben to the point where maybe he wasn't making the decisions that he was, but also that like people deserve forgiveness regardless. I think that whole thing with the snake was like her saying like it doesn't matter, he's just a person. Like everybody deserves this, right? Um and that was Ray saying that like he would get that and that he had tried to earn that and that he sacrificed his life for her um meant something. And then there were a lot of people who were just like, no, he doesn't deserve that from me. Like he did way too many awful things. And it's like, cool, then he didn't earn it from you. I don't know what you want me to do. Like, what do you want me to say to that? Awesome. I'm not asking you to.
Right. Right. I mean, you understand though that for the people for whom that's the case, the problem is that it feels, and I'm not trying to poo-poo anyone's stance, but the problem is that it makes it feel like Ray has made a woeful misstep. That's all.
I mean, he's dead. I mean, maybe
Right.
he'd live. I don't know. That movie never got made. Um,
You're salty.
I want that movie made. I want Dave Filoni to back a dump truck full of money to Steven Soderbergh's house and say, no, make that movie. Um,
Okay.
I don't know. I really like Steven Soderbergh.
I do too.
I
I'm not as jazzed about that movie as you are. If it were to come out, I would go see it and probably love it. But I'm
every
like,
time every time I've been like, I'm not as jazzed about that movie or project, like it turns out being one of my favorites.
my hit rate's a little different than that, but you never know. You never know.
Like I was like that with Bad Batch. I was just like, I remember like distinctly having that conversation on the show with you, like, eh,
Yeah.
eh. And then like I was a puddle of tears repeatedly during that show, but specifically, you know the moment.
I do. We all were.
Yeah.
Way to bring the room down, Brian.
Well, we were never very good at following orders.
No, I never was. And
But
also, I won't take your tear bait. I won't do it. I cry at everything, but I'm not taking that tear bait.
um but anyway, the point was, before this little diversion, I'd like to see more stories about Barris after that, trying to make up for all the horrible things she's done.
Sure, sure.
She might not make up for them, but I'd like to see her try. And that was my point.
There you go.
Um, but as far as Maul,
Yeah.
I don't think Maul ever made up for the horrible things he did, but I do think he was a damned interesting character.
Yes, for sure.
And
For sure.
he continues to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think that speaks, a lot to just how rich his story has become too, through animation that, we're all excited to be like, but there's this pocket of time that we don't know what he was doing, and we'd like to see what he was doing then. Like,
Yeah.
terrific.
No, I'd be interested to see how far this show takes it, right? Like, because we know we're getting a season two.
Yeah.
And I don't know how far that's taking it to. Is it going to take it to Solo? Is it going to take us through Solo? Is it going to take us through Solo to or are we going to skip through time a bunch? Are we going to get this period? Are we going to get through the Solo era? Are we going to get to Malachor? I would love to see. In my head, I've got this story that like Kira, for some reason, is the reason Maul ends up stranded on Malachor for years.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting.
Um, I have no reason to believe that that's actually the case. I just feel like in my heart, if anyone was going to figure out a way to leave Maul stranded without a ship on a a Sith world for years,
Yeah, she could
um,
pull it off.
yeah, she seems to be the one to have the brass to do it. And it's in that right time period, right? Like there's only a few years between, maybe 4 or 5, maybe
Yeah, it's
six or
not a big
seven,
span.
between the time she takes over Crimson Dawn from Dryden Voss and Rebels, right? Like Rebels starts 5 years after there, and who knows how long he could have been there.
We shall see. We
Yeah.
shall see. It would be very funny if Darth Maul ended up with like the most complete personal biography timeline in all of the TV and film of any character.
I mean, like, I think it would be hard to do that. It would be hard to beat Anakin Skywalker,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
or Luke and Leia. Trying to think who else has more complete
But
time.
we do
Hell,
have big gaps for all of them, right? I mean, we do.
I mean, like Luke. I mean, like,
Less so for Anakin than anybody else, you're right,
yeah, but
but
I mean, like Luke. Sure, we've got a gap, but what's he doing? Farming dirt.
he was
Well,
farming
later.
moisture.
Um,
Yeah.
he's farming moisture out of the air over the
Yeah,
dirt. Um, but like, yeah, I mean, we've got gaps later in his life a little bit, but like, we can just like he's training Jedi, right? Like, um, and Leia, it's like, what's she doing? I don't know, making her mom crazy and getting kidnapped.
right? But having leadership adventures.
Yeah, getting in trouble with Amelin. I want more Holdo stories. Holdo's
Ugh,
great.
me too. Me too.
No, Maul, it's really wonderful. Like, I never would have expected that George Lucas putting Maul back on the table would offer so many rich storytelling opportunities.
Yeah,
And this
yeah, he's been a
show,
surpriser.
yeah. Like I remember Filoni telling stories about when George came in and started saying like, "So we're gonna bring Darth Maul back," and Filoni seemed really resistant to that initially. And like I think Filoni has sort of eaten a number of his trademark hats about that one. Um, and I'm excited to talk to you about episode 3 and 4. One of my favorite like weird jokes is in episode 4.
Great.
Because I mean, Master Master Daki looks kind of like a turtle, right?
Yes.
So when he nabs Devin the next time, like, where do you think he takes her?
Oh, into the sewer, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
the only
Which,
place. It's the only place he can go.
yeah.
He's legally required if he looks like that.
When I saw that, I was just like, did they really just do that?
Listen,
Like,
we have Mayor McCheese in Book of Boba Fett, so yes, yes.
um, yeah. No, and I really like how this feels like another layer like Andor, where it's just like all of these systems are really trying to keep the Empire out because they know as soon as the Empire moves in, they're not leaving.
Yeah, because they're jerks.
Yeah, no, the Empire's bad news. Fascists are bad times, and everybody who has two cells to rub together in their brain know that.
Evil.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even really get into 3 and 4. You didn't even have the chance to really offer me spoilers, even though I asked for some, kind of.
Well, I gave you the turtle thing.
You did, you did, you did.
There's one of my favorite things in 3 and 4 is music. Like
Fabulous.
we got a lot of Attack of the Clone stuff in episode 1 and 2, but in episode 3 and 4, it seems like the Kiners are really playing on some variations on Battle of the Heroes.
Oh,
Yeah, it's really good. Really good stuff. Like I'm really excited for the I really hope they release the music on this one. This show is really good music wise. And yeah, I don't know, like spoilers wise, like it's I'm really I just think they expand on Lawson's story more and sort of imply more about him and where he's going and where he's coming from. And I just think he's a really interesting character where he's got a past, um, he's got a kid, and he's trying really hard to be a good single dad. Um, and he's kind of doing bad at it because he's trying to keep Janix together in a way that they don't have to bring the Empire in,
yeah,
right? Like he's trying to protect his kid as best he can and be a dad to his kid. And it's really relatable. Like it's a really human story. I don't know, like there's this vein of I want to say anti-intellectualism that's not necessarily Star Wars specific. It's just sort of pervasive generally, where people will look at something that is inherently wrapped in what they view as kids' entertainment, but might not necessarily be kids' entertainment. Like this is, I don't think Maul Shadow Lord is inherently just kids' entertainment. I think it's all ages entertainment, and it tackles interesting and important storytelling and character work that is universal and cuts across age groups.
yeah,
And it's interesting storytelling that's relatable to people at various ages, right? Like I watch this with my kid and they're really interested in the dilemma that the Padawan is dealing with because they're struggling between Maul and their master, right? Or they're in prison, or, you know, like what Ahsoka's dealing with versus what Obi-Wan's dealing with, right? Where I might be interested in one set of circumstances and they're interested in another set of circumstances. And there's this thread of anti-intellectualism from certain groups of fandom or certain sectors that are just like, this is kids entertainment. Why do I like why would I invest anything into that?
right. I
And they
mean,
just
that's been the plight of animation for decades.
yeah, well, it's not even just animation. Like you hear it with like books too, where it's just like, oh, that's YA. Like they have no idea what that means,
Right.
right? Like they don't understand what it means. They don't understand what themes or anything like that gets put into stories like that. They don't understand that that can be literary storytelling. It's used as a catch-all for this is garbage and I don't want to pay attention to it.
Right.
And I don't think it's fair to pieces of entertainment like this. Like, yes, this is entertainment. Maul Shadow Lord is entertaining, but there are very deep, interesting truths about people, about humanity. You know, even though we're looking at this dressed up through the lens of Star Wars, through the lens of aliens and far off worlds, there's really human stories here that can teach people things through the stories, through the characters, through the situations and the dilemmas that, I mean, the whole thing is to get people to look at it, identify with it, turn into themselves and say, like, how could this apply to me? Or how do I see myself in that? And I think people who dismiss the animation or stuff that's YA or for kids or whatever are really selling themselves short and telling on themselves more than they are um, offering any sort of legitimate criticism to something like Maul Shadow Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I really would say like that is the power of Star Wars. That's why people get so attached to it, right? Because it offers us all of these lessons about the world we live in, but at a remove where we can kind of process them as something, apart from us and then apply that processing, that information, that understanding to our real world lives. I mean, that's what art is for. At least in part. Sometimes art's just there to make you smile, and that's fine too. But like that's really what has always, I think, made Star Wars so powerful is that when like it's something you couldn't possibly be part of, you can watch it and take it all in and theoretically understand it and be like, oh, I see. This is a universal truth that I can then work with in my own life. It doesn't always work,
Yeah,
but that is very powerful.
yeah. And I don't know. I think there's something disappointing that the people who always probably would get the most out of being open to those messages are the ones that are the most closed off to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the final verdict, Maul Shadow Lord, really good. What do you think,
Excitement.
Holly? Yeah.
Excitement. I'm very excited for the rest of it. I'm actually a little bummed because I am going to be away when episodes 5 and 6 drop, so I'm going to have to catch up when I get back in the country. Um, unless I can manage to watch them while I'm traveling, which I might, but I don't know what my time's going to be like, so we'll
Well,
see.
they're only 20, 25-minute episodes, so
Yeah.
who knows?
Who indeed?
So, where can people find you, Holly?
In Italy. That's where I'm going.
Poor you. No, like
um
you're gonna go see my favorite painting, and I'm jealous. You're gonna
no,
go to like places
go
I've never seen that want to so badly.
I'm
I
gonna go
want
see
to
a
so.
lot of paintings. That's pretty much what we're doing.
Yeah, but you're gonna go see the one I want to see more than
The
anything.
what? I bet with minor bribing I would go back. Um, but in the meantime, you can find me on Instagram as SurlyGirly5 and on Blue Sky as Holly Fry. You can still listen to Stuff You Missed in History Class, which continues to run wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can watch it if you want on Netflix. That's another option that's new and weird. You can also find me many Friday nights on the History Channel on The Unbelievable with Dan Aykroyd, talking about weird history. How about you, Busy Bee?
You can find me on social media at Swankmatron or at swankmatron.com. Um, and that's pretty much the places you can find me online. Um, event wise, I'm trying to think of what's next. Um, I don't know. I've got a bunch of stuff coming. June, I'll be at Indiana Comic Con.
Me too.
Yeah, we'll both be there. And then July, I'll be at Congregate in North Carolina. I think those are the two that are coming up soonest. Um, so if you want to see me, I'll be at those. I've got a book coming out next month. And there'll be a small book tour for that in June. So I'll have details about that.
Excitement.
And pre-orders for the book are up on my website and Amazon already. If you go to swankmatron.com, you can see about that. As far as Full Sith goes, you can go to fullofsith.com and listen to the entire back catalog of episodes. which is many now. And send us an email at holocron@fullofsith.com. We'd love to hear from you. And be sure to rate and review the show wherever it is you listen to it, and tell your friends about it and all that fun stuff. And I think that's everything, unless you've got something else, Holly.
I don't think I do. I think you got it all covered.
Okay. Well, then, for super producer Mike Pilot, for Holly Fry, I'm Bryan Young, and the Force will be with you always.
Sir, if you'll not be needing me, I'll close down for a while.